Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world, the world of Wayne, and we've got 3 issues now of the Fanhome release to build the Fast and Furious Dodge Charger. Now we're actually going to be doing issues 8, 9 and 10 rather than an individual one. So there is a fair bit to do in this because we're going to still be working on the suspension. We're going to start on the steering as well. Before we do get started on that though, if you want to get this for yourself, I'll put the link down here to the Fanhome website with a promotion code. So you can sign up all the way from issue 1 and get this for yourself. And as you can see, I've got a plethora of stuff that I've already worked on. As a matter of fact, we're actually just going to be expanding on what we have done just here. Now, if I put that back down, I'm interested to know, do you prefer the format where it's one magazine to one video, or do you prefer the format where it's one pack to one video? With the packs, I can break it down into chapters like you've seen on my other videos, so you can just skip to the stage you want to go straight away. But I'm trying to get these videos to around about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you can watch as your leisure and flick through at your leisure as well. So I'm just wondering, what do you prefer? Stick it in the comments and then I'll pay heed to your advice, and we'll see where we go going forward, because I do have another 4 episodes after this. At the moment we're going to be doing 8, 9 and 10. I also have 11, 12, 13 and 14 here as well, which I'd like to do as a pack. But if you prefer them as a single video, then obviously let me know. But let's show you what we're doing in stage 8. So once again, here's the magazine. I'll just give you a quick flick through, just showing you some of the things that they're covering. And as you can see, we're working on the right front brake and the suspension. All of these parts here pretty much mirrors what we've done with the left-hand side one. We're going to get all of this together. So at the end, we've basically got the brake, the caliper, and the top mount there for the suspensions. Now, here's everything that we get in that. So I'm just going to tip all of this out. Very careful to make sure I don't lose anything. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be starting to assemble the brake disc. Now what we do is we put the lugs on this side just into the holes that we can see on the other side. So when we actually piece these together, we'll just line it up and push it in. Like that, as you can see, you've got that teeth effect in the inside, which I think is an absolutely brilliant effect. Then we're going to be putting the hub on that looks like that. This hub is metal and we have got 2 holes here and 1 lug. It's going to be going into this side. We just align the lug with the larger hole there. So that's going to go on just like that. And then we're going to be screwing this in from this side here. Now for that, we're using CM screws. I'm going to dot that in a little bit of oil because as I said, they are going into metal. And I'll put a screw in this side first. Make that nice and tight. And then we'll do one on the other side. In here, just like that. And then that's the hub attached to the disc. We can put that to one side because then we need the axle here, which is going to connect to start the brake disc on this side here, or the caliper actually. And quite simply, all we're going to do is put this in over the spindle like that, line up the holes at the bottom like that. Once again, these are going to be held in with CM screws. Now this is going to take 2 CM screws just into the larger holes at the top. So that's 1. And then just the 1 on the other side there. Then we're going to take the brake disc and we're just going to assemble all of these together. So just push that in like that. It should still be able to turn in there and fit nice and flush. We've then got this brilliant metal red caliper to put on. That's just going to go into the 2 holes that we can see just at the side there. It's going to fit over like that. It's going to be held into place once again with CM screws. Definitely stage 8, the screw of choice is CM screws. So here's the first one. And here is the second one. And make that nice and tight. There's so much metal in this. I mean, that's heavy already, but it does look very, very much impressive there. We can put that to one side because we need to start working on the shock absorber cylinder here, which is just going to go through the top of this mount at the top. As you can see, looking just like that. Going to put a screw down there as well. That's an EM screw. Now it doesn't matter what way round it goes in, as long as we put the screw in to keep it in. So I've got the EM screw here. It's got a little flange on it, but because it ends in M, I will just put it in a little bit of oil there. And the reason I use the oil is just to help drive it in. The oil I'm using, one of the most common questions I get on the channel, is just a normal general purpose 3-in-1 oil. But that's in that, but it should allow a little bit of play in that shock absorber. And then holding that this way round, we've got the upper control arm here. That's just going to go in this way round, just into the 2 points that we've got inside that, held on each side with FM screws. Again, we're going into metal. So I've got one screw here. I only put it in enough just to keep it into place till I line up the other side. Just there. And then make this nice and tight. So when that's in, it should look just like that. It shouldn't be so loose that it flops around, but it should be able to have some movement in it. But as you can see, I can actually hold that quite nicely by its own weight. All we have to do lastly is take the ball joint looking like this, put this through the top of that arm we just put in there. Then the other side is going to be connecting to the brake and the caliper that we've got. And it's going to be held in from the other side with a GM screw. And once again, when that screws in, it should be able to move, as you can see there, but it should still be able to hold its own weight when that screws all the ways in. But that is all there is to do in that stage. Now in stage 9, as you can see, we're going to be working on the front right suspension and the chassis, which means we are going to need to bring over the section that we've already been working on in the part stages here. And we're just going to be attaching some parts to the chassis, putting a supporting rod in. We're going to be attaching the caliper and the brake, all the brake components of the suspension to the vehicle. So at the end, that's all connected, pretty much ready for a wheel. So there we go. That's everything that we get in this stage. I've brought over the chassis and I'm just going to get out the 3 items that we need to screw into the chassis. And quite simply, the way they go is the longer one here is just going to go over these 2 points here. It is directional, so you need to make sure you put it on the way where it's going to fit nice and flush in there, which for me is that way there. Then we've got one which has got a little bend in it. That's going to go down here, just on this corner, like that. And then we've got one in a packet here, which I will just open up, which is just going to go into this notch section just there, like that. Now the 2 longer pieces are going to be held in with CM screws. So one CM screw for the piece that has got that bend in the middle there, nice and tight. I have put all of these in. Again, a touch of oil going into metal. Then we've got 2 on the piece that we first put in. One here. I haven't made that too tight until I get the other side in. And on this side. Just like that. Then I can make them nice and tight. And then the last one, this piece here, is just going to have a different screw. It's actually going to have an AM screw. You have got a little lip on this side. We want to make sure that faces up, and that's not the one that the screw's going in. The screw's going in the flat side. So when this goes in, it's going to go in just like that. Get an AM screw out and make sure it is actually completely horizontal with the one on the other side there. Then we need to take the torsion bar here, and just like the one on this side here, that's going to go through the hole at the end there, and we're going to securing it from the other side here with a DM screw. Now these are flange screws, so this is just going to go in the end here, and then make that nice and tight. We want to turn this over because we're going to be putting this in place a bit like what we did for the last one here. So we have got this metal bracket to go in, and that's going to go into this section here with the bar here going through the ends to keep that into place, just like that. And it's going to be held in with an IM screw. Just holding that with my hands. God, we've got a lot of screws in this one, haven't we? And they're actually quite a long screw. So make sure that's straight, and we'll get that one in all the way, There we go, and that's in. And there we go. We've got a torsion bar there in place. We can put all of this to one side for a moment because we're still going to be working on the suspension. And then holding it this way, we're going to be taking the cylinder here, which is going to go into the top hole just there. That's going to be held in with an FM screw. Bit of oil in there, and I'm going to put it in from this side here. Just making sure it's all lined up. All the way in. And then likewise, underneath it, we've got the mounting ring, which looks like that, and that's just going to go into the hole underneath, just like that. Once again, held in with an FM screw. Bit of oil. As you can see, screws all the way in. That's the pin in and the cylinder in, just like that. We've got a travel limiter looking just like that. To stop that going too far back, that just pushes into the hole that we got there. We've got a lug on the bottom there. So push that in. Then the pin we just put in last time, this one here, is just going to go through this knuckle hole here. Just like that. It's going to be held in from the other side there with an EM screw. And then get that in. Again, you want it as tight as you can get it. You don't want it flopping around. So there we go. That's in place just like that. Then what we're going to do is going to take the cylinder for the brake caliper and drop the spring in there, because this side is going to clamp into the other side here. And the knuckle joint that we put in is just going to go into the two holes that we can see on the back of the brake that we fitted. Now those holes are going to be having CM screws in them. So I'm going to hold that with my hand. I've got the tiny CM screws here. I think we're lined up, so we can get this first one in. That's gone in lovely. Do the same on the other side. Bit of oil. And that's the second one. So now all of these parts are all together. We want to bring over the vehicle again, because we're going to mount this in place pretty much like we did the other one there. Turn it over, because it's going to go into this channel here. Now as you can see on the bottom of this mount, we've got some lugs. They're going to fit over the top of just this section here till it fits nice and flush in there, just like that. And it's going to be held in on the other side with FM screws, which I've got here. Quite hard to show you this actually, but I'll get one in. That's holding it there nicely, and I'll put the other one in the other side. Working with all these metal parts, I can't stress it enough. Your life will be made a lot easier if you use oil. Here's the second one, and then make that nice and tight. So when I turn that back round now, that should look just like that. It's pretty much mirroring what we've got on the other side there. The only other thing to do a complete mirror is just to put this section here through the end of the hole that we just created earlier, like that. When that's in there, it's going to be held in with an EM screw. It's one of the small flange screws there that is just going to go down the end. That will hold that into place nice and tight. And there we go, we've got a sturdy system on both sides now. We're not finished there, because what we need to do is turn the vehicle upside down, just like that, and bring over the part that we made in the last stage, looking like that there. Now this is going to fit just behind these points here. It's going to rest on that back sort of brace there, and the torsion bar here, the sway bar, is actually just going to go into the backs of each side of the holes that we've got coming out from that knuckle joint. So first off, we're going to be holding that in on this point here with CM screws. So the first CM screw I'm going to put in just down this section here into the chassis. That's holding that side in. Second one on the other side. Probably best on the top camera for this. That's two in. The last CM screw is just going to line up with this bracket that we've got in the centre there. just this one here. So I'll put that CM screw in there. We've got 2 to attach this side. Now they are KM screws, which I have here. So I'll put the first one in there like that. Make that nice and tight. And the last one just into the other side there. It's very sturdy, I have to say. All of this, that every screw you put in is reinforcing this and making it nice and tight. And there we go, that's completely in there. And then the drop links from the anti-roll bar, sway bar or torsion bar here, going to be screwed in from the other side here with DP screws. Don't need oil for these because we're going into plastic. What we do need is to line them up. Very hard to show you, but I'll try and show you on the top camera there. Hopefully you can see. Put that in there and screw that. You don't want to over tighten these because you are going into plastic, so just make it tight enough to hold that into place. We'll do the same on the other side here. Line it up. Get the screw through there and screw that in. And then as you can see, that's pretty secure on both sides there, and that is all there is to do in that stage. Okay, you know one of my favourite catchphrases on the world of Wayne is, I make mistakes so you don't have to. Well, I'm about to make a mistake, and I think me making this mistake is going to put into your mind, don't make the same mistake. Basically, this is what I've done. In this stage, you're going to see us put the steering column in. Now, while I'm building it, you'll notice that this large loop of the column should be facing towards this edge here. But while I'm building it, it's pointing the other way, towards this narrow edge here. If I just zoom in a little bit, show you what I'm talking about, make sure it's this way that you're seeing it here. So it should be there towards this back. Don't be like me and put it in the wrong way. But I hope that if I show you this now, when you are actually doing it, you've got it in your mind not to make the same mistake. So the last stage we're doing, stage 10, we're doing the steering and the right suspension. We're going to be doing pretty much what we've had done previously on this one. We're going to be creating this section just here. That's what we're doing there, and then we're going to be putting the steering mechanism in, or starting to put the steering mechanism in. Not much to do on this one, so when it's finished it should look just like this. So here's everything we get. Looks quite fiddly, doesn't it? But let's get on with this. So what we want to do first is take the tie rod looking like that, and it's the cylindrical end we want, and then we want to take one of these adapters which is going to go on this like that. Now these idler arms are directional. They've got R and L on them. They're actually written, if I get my glasses out here, they're just stamped by the screw hole there. So it's the left one that I want first. And when we put this on, as you can see, this tab here is pointing further towards the top than the bottom of this. So we want this one to be nearer the top. So when this goes on, it's going to be this way round with this end going on just like that. That's going to be held in with a CM screw on both sides. So I'll put one in very, very gently, and I'll put the other one in on the other side. Just make that tight on both sides. There we go, and again, it shouldn't be too loose. It should be able to move, but hold its own weight as well. Then we want to take the steering arm, which looks just like this. We want to take one of these ball joints here, and that's just going to go into the third hole along this one right there. Put that in, show you what that looks like that. And then holding this arm this way round, it's just going to go onto that ball joint there. And then we're going to be securing this once again with a JM screw. Quite a long screw this one is, but it's going in from this side. We're going to do exactly the same to the right hand side one. So once again, we're going to hold it this way. This one's going to be held this way. It's going to go in just like that with a CM screw to the top and the bottom. So it looks like that. And in exactly the same way as what we've just done, we're going to be putting this on the other side. It's going to go into the second hole down, the ball joint here. So we just drop that into there. And then in an exact mirror, this one will be going onto this side here. And then once again held in with a JM screw. And there we go. That's both of those in place. We're going to be putting another ball joint here, just into the end of this one here. Make sure that goes all the way in. And that's going to take this control arm. As you see, we've got a little notch on this side here. That's going to be furthest away from that ball joint. And once again, it's going to be held in with a JM screw. Put that in all the way. And there we go. That's in place as well. We'll bring over the vehicle again. Turn it upside down. And in the vacant hole we just got there, we're going to drop another ball joint. Just in there like that. And that is going to be connected to the point that we can see on this brace arm here. So when I put that in, I'm going to rotate it round. It's going to fit in just like this. It's going to be held in with a JM screw. There you go. It's going all the way in. Make that tight. And that is the start of the steering mechanism in place. As you can see, that's fitted on there like that. On the other side here, just this side here, we're going to get another ball joint. Push that up through there. Put this section just on top. And once again, a JM screw through there. And when that's in, all we've got to do then is just attach these 2 points to the chassis here with CM screws. Now you will notice I'm lubricating all of these tops up big time because I want to be able to have this to be able to be moved around. The first one's going in there, so I get a CM. Now these oil that I'm using, if you want to get it off afterwards, you just use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. But that's the first one in there. And here's the second one. Just like that. So as you can see, when we turn the wheels, it's going to be able to turn both sides. Very, very secure, and I'm glad I put oil on that. I think that's a valuable thing. As a matter of fact, I'm also just going to dab some oil just on the joints here and that one there, just to make sure that we have got some lubrication in there. That's better. It's not too tight. We want to be able to make sure that works perfectly like that. Now we're going to be putting these radius arms in, and basically they go, if I get a little pointing device, we've got a hole just in the radial arm up here, and we've got another one just down the bottom here. So when this goes in, it's going to be this way round. We're going to put one side in like this, and the other side is going to go into the hole on the arm. It's probably best if I put this in first. It's quite a tight fit, so you will need to bend it to put it in. But once it's actually in the hole, which I'm going to get it in now, you'll get an idea of how this is going to look. There we go. And that is just like that there. We're going to do the same on the other side. And there we go. That's the second side in there as well. You can see that on the top and the side. And that is all there is to do in those 3 stages. Quite fiddly, that one, but it's looking really good. There you go, 3 episodes and absolutely loads to do. You know what? The filming time for this was 1 hour 15 minutes. So again, I don't know how much this edits to, but you'll have to let me know. Do you like the longer videos, or do you just want one issue per video, just for this build anyway? So I really do hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.